Good morning, guys. Today is June 13th, and I am going to do your daily collective. Yeah. You know, yeah. Sorry. I almost stopped and restarted because I forgot to grab a name to pull a card for, but I have a name. So, I'll pull a card for that person at the end. All right. So, let me see. June, I almost said June 12th. June 13th, 2022. Give me a second. I've had a lot of distractions this morning, so I'm wondering if maybe that's just going to be like the theme of the day, is distractions. Because it only started right before I started recording. And as I'm saying it, I'm getting like email notifications, and there's a lot of distractions today. So I think maybe today is probably going to be based around trying to stay focused and getting things accomplished while dodging distractions. You know, that's what it feels like. Yeah. So, let's see. All right. Collective. June 13th. Oh, there's one. Ace of Swords. Communication. Three of Swords in reverse. Conversation needs to be had. Wow, Knight of Cups in reverse. Somebody's retracting their energy. The Lovers. You know, yeah. At the bottom of the deck, the Wheel of Fortune. Ace of Pentacles. Two of Wands. And Four of Cups. I don't have my glasses on. Four of Cups. So I pull four from the shuffle, four from the bottom, right? And then what's left is the Seven of Swords. So again, this is needed to make another. See, I think the choice is made. I do. I think the choice is made, and communication needs to be had about leaving the circus, this crazy town, this craziness. I think a decision in, with the Lovers, that's definitely a choice in love. It's a choice in love, or it could be speaking specifically about a Gemini. But that's definitely a choice in love. But there's the Three of Swords and the Knight of Cups in reverse. And, the only way to get out of this heartache, right? Because that's what this is. This is painful, right? One, there has to be truth, okay? There has to be truth, no illusion. And I think this truth is definitely guided by spirit, but I also feel like whatever truth that's going to be spoken or needs to be spoken, it's already known. But I feel like there's caution here, because there's something about this sword that's standing out to me that's never stood out to me before. I feel like you got to be careful with the truth that you speak, because it's going to mirror back to you. You see the reflection on this sword. And I think that's caution from spirit too, and the mountains in the background. You see, there's definitely hurdles to climb. But if you see past those mountains throughout the horizon, there's sun there. And I think that's what the truth that's being spoken is. It doesn't matter how much you care about somebody. Does not matter. If it's like cutting off your nose to spite your face. When you stay in something that's really difficult, rough terrain, like this mountain energy, right? When you stay in something like that, you're not living authentically in your truth. And I think that's where Spirit's coming in, saying, in order for you to be in your truth, or in order for you to be on your path, which is a divinely guided path, you've got to be able to speak your truth and make decisions that are really difficult. This is such a hard decision to make. Turning this into the Three of Swords in reverse from the Three of Swords upright, And look, it's like this truth that's being spoken, it's like this guy has a bunch of it. You know, he has so many things that, or so many reasons as to why he's leaving this circus, because that's what it is. There's nothing solid about, see, a circus tent is not a solid foundation. That thing can blow away with a good gust of wind, you know? So there's nothing solid about it. And that's where all the mountains are. Look, you see the circus in the background? That's where all the mountains are. Look, see all the mountains? And this sort of truth, it's almost like being guided from, like, see this hawk? It's like this hawk is what's guiding him out of there. And as he's leaving, look at his face. I mean, obviously he feels like he's gotten away with something, right? But he kind of has. In a way, he kind of has. I mean, it wasn't easy for him to be back there where he was at. And the way he left may not have been, it may not have been the most kosher way to leave, you know, but I don't feel like he would have gotten cooperation there anyway. It's a circus. It's just this, you know, I mean, it's crazy town. This is crazy town. And he wouldn't have gotten the cooperation that he needed anyway. So he's happy that he's not there. He's happy that he left, you know, and took the swords with him. He took these swords with him, and he's, you know, and it's almost like he's making a path. So it's like everybody that's in Crazy Town doesn't have to stay in Crazy Town. They can go on this journey too if they want to. He's leaving them a path. Look, he's put 2 swords in the ground and he's pulling one out to plant another one. There's definitely a trail. And so he's leaving a trail. He can be found. It's not going to be hard to find him or get into contact with him, and he's doing that on purpose. But he's leaving the area because he needs to leave. So at the bottom of the deck, you've got the Wheel of Fortune as the crowning energy. The Wheel of Fortune is, and then right underneath it is the 2 of Swords. So it's knowing that this change needs to be made in order to find happiness, right? But, and the reason you know that is because on each side of the sword, right? And here's the choice, just like with the Lovers. Because on each side of the sword, you have one side where it's a brand new beginning, right? Where you can start all over again, which is where this guy's heading to. He's looking for this pinnacle. Because once he finds this pinnacle, there's more to be found. And he knows that he's on the right track. But then you've got this energy here where they're like, no, look at all the emotion. I'd rather just sit here dwelling on all these feelings and just not interested in doing anything and moving forward. But there's that choice, right? And look at the top. You can either sit in the emotion or start building. The choice is yours. With this wheel, the choice is yours. And so when you have that as your crowning energy and you're sitting here, you're kind of like in a deadlock because you don't know what you don't know. You see the moon in the background. That's what you don't know. And that's what you don't see is what's hidden behind the moon, what's hidden back there. But the choice is going to be made. It's going to come up. I mean, you can't even avoid it. It's all over this. So let me see, clarify the Lovers and see what is the potential outcome. Eight of Cups. My deck's upside down. 8 of Cups. Knight of Cups. And the High Priestess. Yeah, the bottom, and then wish fulfillment at the bottom, the Star card, right? And so what came out was the 8 of Cups, the Knight of Cups, and the High Priestess. So this is like walking away from what's painful towards this wish fulfillment, towards this brand new beginning. There's an offer from Spirit. It's coming in, and it's full of love, abundance, and everything that you want. And so this is the High Priestess. And the High Priestess is signifying, you know, one, it signifies duality, right? And but it's also being really connected to Spirit and understanding understanding what this is about. There's more to this than what can be seen. And I think the problem is the people that are living back here in this tent under the big top, I think those are the people that can't see the big picture. But this person can. This person can. This person's saying, like, you can stay here and in this environment, which really they're open to the elements. There's no protection around the structures here, these tents. There's no protection there. Anything wild could enter. The thing is not protected. It's open. There's nothing solid about that foundation. It's made of cloth. There's no brick and mortar. So, they're kind of open to the elements. And this guy's aware of that. And he's like, no, no, no. And I feel like the elements signify your emotions, your raw emotion. And this guy understands that. And so he needs to do what he needs to do in order to protect his emotions and his physical body and his mental state and emotional body. He's got to do what he needs to do to protect that. But he's going to build a solid foundation somewhere. And you can come along if you want to, but you don't have to. It's just, he's just not going to stop his process. You know what I mean? So I really feel like it's about putting on a brave face, regardless of what's in front of you. I think it's about putting on a brave face and following through and really sticking to it and not backing down and being really brave. Because this takes a lot of bravery. It takes a lot of courage to get through this kind of energy. But I'm going to pull out my handy dandy Wisdom of the Oracle deck. My go-to deck. I love this deck. And see. Yeah, message in the bottle. See? That's spirit coming in. Saying, listen to me. Listen to me. All that glitters in the past. Yeah, everything may have seemed like, broken promises. People love to glitter things up and, look at the big top. Look at all the flashing lights and all the stunts and tricks and here to, the smoke and mirrors and the gaslighting, everything. That's what happens under a tent, right? In the circus. A lot of gaslighting under a circus. A lot of danger under a circus, too. A lot of acrobatics. And think about what happens under a tent in a circus, you know what I mean? And it kind of feels like that's what's happening in your environment. You've got the acrobatics, and so there's a lot of bending and what do I tell my family? I'm like, you guys got me bending like Beckham to get things done, and I get it, like I want to be able to help, but you put so much on a person and they're not going to be able to carry weight. But they'll make it all shiny, like, oh, like it's like a facade. There's like a facade. And, I don't know how to explain it. And, another thing that I try to explain to people is that, so rude. Another thing that I try to explain to people is that, and I've tried to use this analogy like with my husband and with some of the people in my house, and I don't know if they get it, but it's like, when I'm standing here saying that I'll help you when you put a pebble in my hand, I can carry that. But every day for the past, I don't know how many years, you walk by and drop another pebble in my hand. Those pebbles end up turning into rocks, that turn into boulders, that turn into mountains, and there's no way I can carry that. It would be a much easier load if everybody carried their own pebbles or carried their own rocks. It would be a much easier load to handle. But when you're the only one carrying all that, you can't do it. And at some point you're going to break. Either you're going to break and everything's going to fall on top of you and you're just not going to be mobile, or you're just going to drop it all and say, what, screw it. I can't do it, So that's kind of like, I feel like it's sort of like, I feel like the weight has been dropped. I feel like the rocks have been dropped. I feel like they have been dropped already. And now it's like, now what do I do? And I think that's where we're at. Is like, do I continue to pick these rocks up and keep going, or do I insist that they help me? And if they're not going to help me pick up these rocks, then, well, I'm just going to leave and let them handle it. And I think, you know, and then when you start thinking about letting them handle it, then you're stricken by guilt. You know, like, oh, that's not cool. Like, you know, how could I leave them like that? But at what point do you start thinking about you and saying, you know what, I deserve for somebody to carry me, you know, carry my rocks and my pebbles and my boulders, you know? I mean, after a while, you know, you end up having unfounded guilt, you know? And so I think it's like, it's not that you don't care about people needing to leave the scenario or leave the situation. It's needing to leave that place so you can get back to you and knowing and remembering who you were again, because you've gotten lost in the sauce somewhere along the way. Higher power, here we are again, another spirit card, connecting to spirit and trusting what you're receiving. Yep, to the sea. I mean, we go through these every day, right? To the sea, leaving someplace uncomfortable, even when it's going to be, it could be heartbreaking, you know? But it's leading to serendipity. Why? It says why, right? And then right under it, building blocks. See, you can look at this two ways. You can look at this as like the magician, where she's manipulating all the blocks to, you know, to stack neatly and properly. Or you could look at this as defragmented, where all the fragments are coming apart. You know what I mean? You could look at it in different ways. And the way I look at it, considering what's happening, is I look at it as a defragmentation that's taken place, and then her literally thinking and trying to figure out, okay, how do I get these fragments back into place? And I think the reason why this why card is coming out is because you're like, it's almost like I'm looking at spirit saying, why do I have to endure this? Why did I even have to go through any of this? And spirit is just saying, well, if you follow us and you let go of resistance, one, these blocks are going to fall into place. Two, you're going to gain so much more knowledge than you even thought or even realized was out there. You're going to learn so much more about yourself. Once you can bring balance back into your life with the yang, we've got yin and yang, right? So this is yang. Once you can bring balance back into your life, this is what to expect. You see? It's almost like this is being handed. It's like this is a zoomed in version of what she's got going on here. And she's super happy. I mean, look at, she's sitting on an egg, and this egg is, it's part of her that's been protected, but it's also a part of her that's grown. And she's learned so much about herself by nurturing her ideas, nurturing nurturing this growth and allowing the growth to take place. And so connected. So connected. I mean, look at the colors. See, it's like, this is higher power. So this is spirit. And look at the colors in the background. It's like, you know, it's like this is, all this is still in the ethers while she's sitting here, but being surrounded by that. Do you know what I mean? So I feel like, yeah, I think this message is a constant message, and I think it's because I do it every day. But I really feel like spirit is almost not yelling, but saying, hey, we really are trying to get your attention. Spirit's patient. They're super patient, you know? If maybe we lose patience with ourselves, you know? Maybe. Yeah. Yeah, see? You got to leave the hostilities behind. That's what's here. And look what come up at the bottom. 7th chakra. This is really spirit urging and pushing. They're all over this reading. Yeah. All right. Strategy. See that shit? strategy and deceit. And here it is. Look, that Seven of Swords at the bottom. It's like really trying to come up with a strategy, right? And deceit, you could either have deceitful people in your surroundings, or you feel like your strategy to get out of this is deceitful. And it may be. It may be. But, you know, who am I to tell you not to do anything by any means necessary to get out of what you're in? Look, this is needing to remove the attachment, the mask. You know, this is the self-deception, the mask, removing that mask, right? Attached to something that's not even real. And we've got hostilities, and caring connections came out in reverse. You know, again, a lot of smoke and mirrors, promising one thing, this cornucopia, and not being able to deliver that, you know? Or there's too much that's happened in the past that you cannot heal in the environment that you're in. I know personally that's what I struggle with. I am finding it incredibly difficult to heal the way that I need to in my environment. And so one of the things that I've got going on is trying to make the decision to stay where I'm at because, you know, this is where I raised my kids. This is where my kids are. Or go back home to, you know, my parents' house and try to rebuild from there and just leave everything here so I can get back to myself and remember who I am again. You know, it's very interesting. If you go back a couple years on my YouTube channel, you can see the physical, clear difference of who I was then and who I am now. Clearly, it's so obvious. And so, you know, trying to get back to that, to where I felt peace, you know, it's like trying to get back to that. And, it's difficult, right? It's really hard. And because you don't want to abandon, or what it feels like abandon, the people that you really care about, you know? But how can you continue to stay in something when it's depleting you? How can you give to them when it's depleting you? And that's where I'm at. Like, as painful as it may be for me to leave, I need to repair me. I cannot keep giving to the people that I'm so in love with if I'm not right within myself. You know, I mean, it's very difficult. It's very difficult. I mean, you just can't do it. Sometimes you need that respite in order to remember who you were. I mean, we change, we evolve, but you don't want to, you know, when you hold on to the negative aspects of things, or your, you know, your perception is negative and everything you talk about, think about, look at, that's a dangerous place to be. You know, one, you start to alienate everybody in your surroundings. You start to alienate everybody, but you also start to find reasons to let go of friendships because they're too much work and you want to be alone. Or, you know, you just keep coming up with reasons to stay alone. I mean, I know personally that's what I do. I mean, I have my space that is my space, and I'm in it a lot. And I've been trying really hard to come out of it, you know, but it's like, I know that I need to be away from the things that trigger me. And it's not a personal attack on them. Most of them know that. But it's just, I need to repair me. I've been through a lot. And I think that's what's going on with a lot of people right now. And I just so happen to be able to relate. I could definitely relate to that. And so I'm in a much better place now. But I think that's where everybody is heading. Okay, so I want to be able to encourage you guys and let you know, like, yes, you're on the right track. I mean, as uncomfortable as some of your decisions may be, and it could be completely different than what I have going on personally, but the energy still remains, you know. Could be different scenarios, but same energy. All right, so I hope that made sense, guys. But anyway, this card that I'm pulling is for Martin. Martin, we have a lot of communication in the comments, and I appreciate that greatly. So this card is for you, Martin. You know, your energy seems pretty even and steady. I want to say you're a pretty laid-back guy. Maybe a, to me, like even the sound of your voice, what I'm picking up, I could be related to like a very calm, even tone, almost sultry, you know. But it is like this calm and evenness about you. Take things with a grain of salt. All right, Martin. I think it's perfect. I'm unapologetic about what I desire and trust that what I focus on will grow. Aren't you working on something now? And I do feel like this is an affirmation for you. Because I'm not so sure you're really confident in what it is that you've got going on. But I know that determination will help it grow. Yeah. And I think that, yeah, I mean, you shouldn't have to be apologetic for the things that you desire. I mean, that's kind of crazy. I mean, so, you know, when you give so, see, I keep saying it, when you give so much to other people and deplete yourself and like not give as much to yourself, isn't it sad that when we start questioning our own, like, what we will do for ourselves? You know what I mean? Oh, I'm doing too much for myself. I need to do more for other people. It should be the other way around, right? And so coming into a place where it's like, no, I've done enough for others. Now I need to work on me. And then trying to release that guilt, that definitely needs to be a thing. Release the guilt, right? But I really feel like if you stick to this, it's definitely going to grow. And if you have days where you're just down on it, do a little bit, but don't walk away completely. But allow yourself to take a break, but make yourself to, you know, go back to it. But I really feel like with this, more so for you, I don't feel like it's walking away and not completing something out of boredom, you know? I don't think it's that. I think it's maybe being too hard on yourself. Yeah. I think that's what it is, Martin. Maybe being too hard on yourself or a confidence. I think it's a confidence thing. Yeah, so I feel like push through that. Push through that. That's a boundary. I think that push through that, and that will, when you can push through that, you start to strengthen that aspect, that side of you. It's very Capricorny. You know, that feels very much like a Capricorn energy. Capricorns, they work on things until they don't give up until the wheels fall off. Capricorns are so dedicated, so like, committed. However, they're so critical of themselves. They're incredibly critical of themselves. Even though they will work on something till the wheels fall off, they're incredibly critical of themselves. Nobody can be harder on a Capricorn than a Capricorn. No, I mean, nobody. Yeah, Capricorns beat the heck out of themselves every chance they get. So, this feels sort of Capricorny, you know? So I feel like I don't want to say self-sabotage. That's a little harsh. And that's not it. Well, I mean, I suppose it could be, you know, when you self-talk negatively, that's sabotaging. But anyway, that's the affirmation, Martin. I hope it makes sense. I'm unapologetic about what I desire and trust that what I focus on will grow. Yeah. And at the bottom, I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided, because you are. All right, guys. I'll be back tomorrow with another upload. I hope that made sense to you. And take care. Bye.